My, oh my, I think I'm live. Will we ever know for sure? I thought it would be fun if I adjust my glasses. If I thought it'd be fun if we were to investigate the 3D scans of the Tridactyls, courtesy of the Alien Project and Theory over there, and the Ica Institute, I believe, as well. So they were kind enough to allow these 3D scans to be seen. So let's see here if we can do that. Dun dun dun. Look at that coolness. Okay. I'm digging it. So you can see here we are at their main page. And we can go into the 3D viewer together. Mhm. Hopefully that's big enough for everyone to see. Uh-huh. So I thought we'd look at Montserrat. This was the latest specimen to come out. And what's interesting about Montserrat is that it's a twofer. Two for one. You get to see the oh, I got too small. That's kind of fun too, but I don't think I need to see me in such a big position, right? We can do something like that. Hmm. Well, I don't like that view either. Before we get much farther, if anybody would like to, and when I say anybody, like anyone who I remotely know in the world or on the internet, if there's anyone out there listening, feel free to drop me a line on one of the many social medias. We are currently on YouTube, Facebook. Um, what's the little purple one? Is that Discord? And Twitter, X. So y'all can go to this site on your own. You don't need me for this. This again is not my site. I'm not affiliated with them, but I thought it'd be nice to check out the alienproject.com. Mm-hmm. All right. What do we got? So let's play with this here. Oh, and if you notice too, it looks like Mr. Now is it Hamin or Jamin for him? Hamin Theory. He has given it his last name as the genus. Yeah. I'm not sure how that works zoologically. I guess he could do that. It's kind of vague as to doesn't tell you what the thing is though. So that's the only problem with that I would have. It's not very clear. I guess pulpa, is that where it's from? I'm not sure on that one. All right. Oh yeah. Of course, this thing here also has metal implants on its head. I'm getting an idic symbol vibe from Mr. Spock on that. Now there's different buttons you can hit here. This one says metal implants, osmium question mark. So that those of you that don't know, osmium is named for its odor. It smells like garlic or sulfur. So that's interesting. So it has a sort of metal implant, maybe where you'd have a third eye, metaphysically speaking, of course, not a literal third eye. Now there's a fetus here, so it says. So can we see the fetus? I have my camera in the way of my screen, so unfortunately, well, we're gonna zoom in, and again, you guys can't see him. I can't see. I think so. Probably best to arrive here at this screen yourself, and maybe you'll have a little more. There we go. Here we go. All right. I moved the guy. Well, the gal. All right. So how do we get to the fetus? Do I move this layer here? Oh no, that appears to be adding. Oh, look at that. It's like she was curdling her belly. How interesting. Huh. Well, I was hoping to arrive at the fetus here, but I'm not sure. I had a general idea where it was, so I don't know if that's it or if we can see it better from the other side, maybe. Zoom out a little bit. Very interesting, isn't this? This is really cool of them to make this available for us. I mean, it just really drives the science home that there is something happening here. Again, I'm having trouble pulling up the fetus. Oh, is that a limb in there? Oh, that's its own hand. It's the mother's hand. Okay. Well, I'm a little curious. Maybe there's someone out there who might be able to explain more of this than I can. It's hard. I can't make out head or tails of all of this stuff. No pun intended. Anyway, this is cool. Let's go ahead and just check out some of the others. So we have Suje. Suje is a bit of an anomaly. Someone has suspected that perhaps this represents some sort of juvenile. So maybe those appendages are from a marine animal life. I don't know. They've called them proto wings. I don't know if wings could work quite like that. Maybe. Again, not my real topic, but it's very just so different than the other thing being, which was more of a hybrid, it would seem. But let's see, what else is there? I'm not even really familiar with Paul myself. Let's check out Paul. Of course, the fun ones are the ones with the eggs. We should definitely check out one of the ones with the eggs. Paul, that kind of looks like the guy I have right here. If you can see in your lower screen, maybe is that Paul or Josephine? So again, you can go through. What's this? Paul 3D reconstruction. Oh, isn't that interesting? So they added some flesh to him here. Okay, that's good. Added some flesh, so you have a better idea what these things might look like. We don't need to have the 3D reconstruction on, so we can turn that off. Diatom layer. So that's moving that. Clipping cam seems to reduce matter. Again, I don't know what the technical term is. If anybody wants to jump on, feel free to contact me through the social media. But this is the Alien Project's 3D viewer site. I mean, if this just doesn't say scream like authenticity, unless this is all some sort of macabre art made with, I don't know, 3D generated flesh. Can you do that? Maybe you can do that. Maybe they have a 3D flesh generator and they can make you a flesh clone. All right, here's Earl. Again, just another different species showing either a different age or I said species, not different species. I think they're all related. It's just varying degrees. Maybe it's varying degrees of hybridization or age differences. Who do we got here? All right, so this is Earl. I'm not super familiar with Earl, but look at that face, huh? And of course, these beings match up with modern folklore. And what I mean by modern folklore, I mean people's accounts of abductions and beings. They were always, right, big headed beings. You know, they're described as the Greys. And so far, we definitely have some gray skin. It'd be nice to see some skin here. So, how about Josephina? She's a classic. Going back to Josephina, and let's see how we can find what's the best way to find that egg. Right now, what's it mean when I hit that button? I thought, is it just giving me a number to go to? I don't know. But I'm trying to find the best way to look at the eggs, and I don't know what's the best way. Okay, well, apparently I need to get used to this program myself. Some of you young whippersnappers out there. Oh, there we go. There's some eggs. Hey, we got some eggs. All right, cool. At least we can maybe play with it here, right? Interesting. So they do see some fetuses in some of the eggs, and of course, Montserrat has a fetus in it, but it is very hard to see anyway, let alone with me trying to navigate the 3D viewer here. Who else can we look at real quick? We've seen plenty of different ones. Alberto's interesting because he has an implant on his hip. So I don't know if I name these characters out of mythological characters, I think I would call this guy either Hephaestus or Vulcan. Yeah, said to have a limp after Zeus kicked him out of the mountain or something. So I don't know if there's any tales to that, but this is this guy, Alberto. Wild, huh? And of course, the when I say fish-like head, I think people mean in this profile here is your fish-like head. Look at that, reminiscent of the Isle of Capra, named for something with a horn or horns. So we can go into the skull a little bit here using this clipping cam. Yeah. Wild. Wild stuff. Cool. All right, I'm going to go scout around. I'm going to leave you on something else. Please hold.
are statues and cultural traits such as burying statues in farm fields. And we can find this trait in the Caribbean, in Africa, in Oceania. And we can also see these ancestor worship evolve into spirit worship and guardian worship, where it seems as though the ancestors themselves are looking over us. And that's what we see in some of these. So take a look.
Greater meaning to us. So,
Though
this little
the
video here
ancestors
just
themselves are
makes
looking over
note
us.
that
And
some
that's
of
what
these
we see in some of
ancestral
these.
gods
So take a look.
are depicted as dwarves, many of them, which is interesting. So we have these Taino pieces here. And there's a few other motifs that this guy covers. One, we have the spirals of, well, what is it? It could be a water spiral, it could be a serpent spiral, it could be a mother goddess spiral, and it could be all three. And it's the water serpent as mother goddess symbol. So that's a common motif found throughout the world. And the other motif is we have a seated god here. There's talk of a seated god's constellation. There's, of course, our own human culture of the throne. Some more Taino. There's a mother goddess. These are, and I'm always butchering the names. These are the African gods, Ngoni, I believe it's called. Look it up real quick to make sure. Ngomi. Let's see. Anyway, doesn't matter right now. So, note we have another dwarf-like being. They say these were buried in various root crops. So they would bury these little statues in root crops. There's one holding gourd, which arguably also is a bit of a common motif. He's got a gourd in one hand and perhaps a club or rod in the other, or it's a mortar and pestle, some say as well. So that if it's a mortar and pestle, this is some sort of maybe a medicinal god, some prognathic features on him. And again, that's from the African tribe. I want to say the Dogon, but I think they have a different name for the artifacts. Let's say Dogon art. Yeah, I think the Dogon art is different than what I'm talking about. So Dogon, anyway, is a good place to search out for your African. So here's interesting Isis, shown as a dwarf. There's Bes, which, by the way, Bes's name actually means cat-eyed god. So there could be a cat connection in the deep past of these beings. We have some kami, or Japanese garden gods. Might be rice field gods as well. I thought this was interesting here. So you have your food dragons, but if you notice, they have an anthropomorphic look to them, don't they? Now, this could be just me looking into pareidolia or whatnot, but you do see that the ears sort of resemble eyes, and the eyes sort of resemble perhaps a smiling mouth. Anyway, I could be looking into that one, but we have it in here. So let's listen to some of the video here. I'm not getting any audio myself. Why is that? Let's see. Ah, there it is. So I may have been talking over myself the whole time. So here's a little video I made of the various cordiform faces, heart-shaped faces. We have our concentric circles, our spiral pattern. Again, that spiral pattern related to, well, it could be multivariate explanations. One of my favorites, people say it looks like a ET, or it looks like a gingerbread ET. And this is one of the Syrian eye idols of El Brak, Syria. This could be a depiction of a fertility goddess, which a fertility goddess means a mother goddess in not so many words. Also called a house guardian or even a teraphim, which were the house guardians of, I believe, was it Abraham? It was Abraham's ancestors possibly. So sort of indicating that maybe this was the original goddess. Maybe this is Asherah. Maybe this is Shaddai. Right there. That's what she looked like. A heart-shaped being. Let's see what else this video offers us with this groovy music. Another Syrian eye idol. This one's a little, it looks like an unhappy Muppet. Okay, so this here is supposed to be the god An or Antu. And it's very stylized. It's a sort of evolution of those Syrian eye idols. So now it's become stylized and less apparent that it's something said to represent horns as well. So are the eyes and the horns becoming one, such as maybe you would see in the Ionic columns, where the things become more stylized and have multivariate symbolic meanings? Is that also the spiral? So again, something like this, combined with the Syrian eye idols and that stylized picture of An, and Asherah poles, I'm guessing, evolved into the Ionic columns we have today. So Ionic columns are really just pillars dedicated to a mother goddess like Hera. Of course, this one's very interesting because here is it's terracotta work, I believe, of a woman who's looking at a pillar as though has her arm around it lovingly, as though it's anthropomorphized. So why is that? Well, you know what I think? I think that represents one of our tridactyl beings, the stylized eyes, and perhaps the palmette. The palmette seems to represent perhaps multiple beings, perhaps a mother and her spawn. So definitely look at palmettes as part of this serpent motif. A palmette would be, again, steganography. They don't want to just draw a bunch of snakes, but we can make some stylized snakes. And again, the Ionic column is what I have here. And there you can see also there's also those palmettes, which some people say, oh, well, that's just art. It's just some artist creation. Maybe. But I find that almost everything, especially if you're in anthropology, everything is the result of something else. Check out some cool videos I have, if I have any cool videos at all. Let's see. Okay, so one of the big theories for me is that I believe these beings are amphibious and they go through metamorphosis, such as these Magatama, or these pig dragons. Look at that one. I think art like this, which is Harpocrates, or simply Horus, this version of Horus, he's holding what they say is a cornucopia. I think the cornucopia, which is really the horn of Zeus, And the horn of Zeus refers to Zeus being, I believe, wet nursed by a ram, by a being with horns. So that's what the cornucopia is. So you see how we have to get to the truth of the cornucopia. We all think it's this wonderful Thanksgiving thing that provides fruit and vegetables, right? Yeah, there's more to it than that. It's referring to a horned being that raised the god Zeus. And so these things start off as serpentine, but if you follow this art and if you follow Mr. Horace or Harpocrates here through art, you'll see that the cornucopia becomes more and more stylized and more like our modern cornucopia. But there's more to it than that. This is a representation of Nuwa. This is Glycon. What's interesting about Glycon is that they thought Glycon was a fake god, and that the gentleman created the god by attaching a donkey head to a snake. So you have accusations of assemblage in the ancient past, like we do today. Okay, so we've got, this is the head of Ganesh, is an elephant. I say the head of Ganesh is a concealed polywog, if you will, of the beings. Because the head of Ganesh isn't just about a being with an elephant's head. It is about a being that is shaped like an elephant with its lower limbs misshapen to resemble a trunk. And that was initially a sort of instinctual redefining on my own part. I did find, of all people that collaborated with that, is Sadhguru. Sadhguru mentioned what the trunk of Ganesh really represents, which is misshapen lower limbs. So here is Ganesh, the child, which is a whole other video. Well, no, it isn't. Here it is, the child right here. So the child, interestingly enough, is also a Chinese letter. Why would the child be such an odd character? Serpentine. A child, which is the Tamil name for Ganesh. And a couple cornucopias again with I feel are these zoomorphic, if you will. Zoomorphic. Are they animal-like? Are they theriomorphic? Beast-like? But it looks like they have eyes, possibly, and it could be little limbs there. Again, did the person who made these, did they know they were creating beings, or were they just copying a type of art? Maybe that wasn't intentional. I don't know. Or it was someone who was trying to conceal knowledge, and only if you knew, you knew. Oh, good. There was another one. See, another one of Harpocrates showed up there. I hate saying that name because I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right. I'd rather just say Horace. And here's Horace. Now look at the cornucopia. This is an earlier stage. This is clearly it's like he's embracing a Komodo dragon or something. What a wild statue that is. This the head on that thing. But yet it's got like a butt. So what's going on there? Tell me. Nuwa and Fuxi, the sort of Naga of China, creator deities. This is, what was her name? Some of I long forget. European versions, which have the legs individually becoming fish-like. So that's my my theory on that. These beings actually go through a metamorphosis. You can see it in the art. You can hopefully see it in the bodies eventually. So what else we got? Thanks for hanging out with me today. We'll go ahead and we'll do more of these 3D scan investigations. So, I saw the wonderful Vulcan hand symbol and I couldn't help but think, that's awfully tridactyl-like. And it didn't take long. It was just 3 degrees to tridactyls to find out that hand sign is the first letter known as Shin, the first letter of Shaddai, which is the feminine goddess name of God. They use the masculine L El Shaddai. That's not accurate, actually. If it's a female name or a female being, it would be Ash Shaddai. Ash Shaddai. And so here is the same letter, Shin. So it's not the three prong thing, but what do we have? The first letter for the female name for God is a cordiform, heart shaped letter. Is that wild or what? I thought that was wild. So, yes, I'm able to connect. It's not hard to connect to anything. It's my theory that all of humanity is derivative. And there's one of my favorites of all times. That's a great tridactyl impression right there. Looks like a E.T. gingerbread cookie. Here's an odd Asherah or a Shaddai. So very odd. Kind of serpentine. Have the remains of some breast there, possibly. And we have a letter that is related to it, a European version of the three-pronged letter, which of course looks like our buddy's hands. Wild, huh? Of course, this closes with a logo. What a great song. That's awesome. All right, let's see if we got anything else on these videos, and maybe we'll wrap it up here. So I love showing my Hong Shang artifacts all the time.
Happy New Year, Mr. Ed here, aka Alien Ed. And if you've been following my
videos, ahead and
videos,
mute myself here. We're going to just fast forward a little bit past my past self, since you're spending time with me here in the future. So this was a little collection of the Egypt videos. I'm just going to play it without the sound, and that way I can sort of... So the Djed pillar, frequently shown anthropomorphic with arms and hands, supporting the pharaoh, also related to the Hebrew letter Samek, which means fish or a fish or some form of support. Also, dwarves are depicted as supportive beings, holding up either rulers or the sky. I think the real reason that the dung beetle is popular, I know we talk about it rolling the sun across the sky. Is it rolling the sun, or is it the mother goddess herself in birth? And maybe a dung roll is really the earth she's holding. This was interesting, these two letters here that we're also familiar with. But I didn't realize if you tilt it on its side, it kind of was reminiscent of the Chinese dragon letter. And it looks like almost like a mother dragon with egg. Isn't that wild? Interesting. Yeah. And here was a little fun I had. I just photoshopped the outside of these pharaoh masks. And I was wondering, what was the way they depicted the neck? Was that depiction, artistic depiction, meant to replicate the neck of the beings? So I have a theory, of course, that there's cats related to these beings. Look at that great Thoth-Amon statue. If that doesn't look like some sort of alien head, I don't know what does. Same with this thing from the Americas. I mean, that is wild looking. So I'm having a little bit of fun here, obviously. I don't know what the head looked like. People say a lion, which very well could be a lion, but I don't know. Anyway, I think that's been enough fun for today. Thanks for listening along. I'm going to try to go live when I come up with some really cool theories, and maybe we'll have a live theory in front of us. Live long and prosper. Alien Ed out.